3 guys, 1 apartment, $1,150 rent they couldn't pay. That's where Airbnb started. Not in a boardroom, not with a $10 million check. On an air mattress. Today, that air mattress is worth over $100 billion. But here's what nobody tells you about this story. They almost quit. 17 times. The tease from 3 air mattresses in a San Francisco apartment to 7 million listings across 190 countries, from a $240 weekend to $4.8 billion in annual revenue. This is not a rags to riches story. This is a survival story. The beginning, San Francisco, 2007. Brian Chesky and Joe Gebbia are designers with a problem. They're out of money. Rent is $1,150. Their bank accounts are almost empty. Then, a design conference hits the city. Tens of thousands of visitors, 0 hotel rooms. Chesky looks at 3 air mattresses in the corner of his apartment and thinks, what if that's the product? Not a tech startup, not a platform. Just 3 mattresses and a crazy enough idea to rent them. First revenue. 3 guests. 3 nights. $80 per night. Total revenue, $240. Now, $240 doesn't sound like much, but that $240 proved something nobody else believed yet. Strangers will sleep in a stranger's home. That's not obvious. That's not safe. That's apparently exactly what people want. The full team. They needed a builder. Nathan Blecharczyk joined, engineer, co-founder. Now they had a designer, a storyteller, and a coder. They launched the website and waited. The traffic? Almost nothing. The signups? Nearly 0. But they didn't panic. They did something else. The rejections. They pitched to investors, rejected, more than 20 times. Investors said, nobody will stay in a stranger's house. This will never scale. This is a liability nightmare. One investor later admitted he turned them down because he didn't want to sleep in a stranger's home himself. The irony, he was right about himself. He was wrong about everyone else. The cereal box hustle. They were broke, truly broke. So they did something absurd. They designed 2 cereal boxes, Obama O's, The Breakfast of Change. Captain McCain's, a maverick in every bite. They printed them, boxed them, sold them, $40 a box. They moved 500 boxes. That's $30,000. Enough to pay rent, enough to buy time, enough to stay alive. Paul Graham at Y Combinator saw their hustle and said something simple. These guys won't quit. Y Combinator, 2009, $20,000 investment. But Paul Graham didn't change their business with money. He changed it with 4 words. Go meet your users. Not build a better algorithm. Not scale the marketing funnel. Go meet your users. The photography fix. They analyzed their data. Conversion was low. People were visiting listings and leaving. Why? The photos were terrible. Not terrible listings. Terrible photos. Dark rooms, weird angles, blurry kitchens. Would you pay $80 to sleep somewhere that looked like a crime scene? Neither would anyone else. So Chesky did something that didn't scale. He flew to New York, rented a camera, and personally photographed listings. No automation, no outsourcing, just a founder with a rental camera knocking on doors. Result? Revenue doubled. Within weeks, the scale phase. Then something shifted. 2011, 1 million nights booked. Total. 2014, 10 million users. 2016, 2 million listings across 191 countries. They weren't growing linearly anymore. Every solved problem unlocked the next 10 users. Every new city unlocked a new supply of hosts. This is what network effects look like in real life, not a graph in a pitch deck. A company that gets harder to stop with every single booking. Global expansion, Paris, Tokyo, London, Cape Town, Sao Paulo. 190 countries, 100,000 cities. Airbnb didn't just enter markets, it changed how those markets worked. Suddenly, a spare room in Kyoto was a business. A beach house in Portugal was income. A farmhouse in Tuscany was fully booked every summer. Regular people became hosts. Hosts became entrepreneurs. The product wasn't just accommodation, it was economic access, the business model. So how does Airbnb actually make money? Simple and smart. Hosts pay roughly 3%, guests pay up to 14%. Airbnb touches nothing, owns nothing, no mattresses, no keys, no housekeepers, just the platform connecting them. By 2019, $4.8 billion in revenue. By 2019, profitable, without owning a single bed. It's one of the most capital-efficient business models in the history of hospitality. The backlash. But scale creates enemies. Cities said Airbnb was killing affordable housing. Neighbors complained about rotating strangers, governments passed laws, then bans. New York, Barcelona, Berlin, Amsterdam, all pushed back. And Airbnb faced a question every high-growth company eventually faces. When you disrupt an industry, who bears the cost of that disruption? COVID collapse. Then, March 2020. The world stopped. Bookings dropped 80% overnight, $1 billion in cancellation refunds in days. The company that disrupted travel was suddenly a company that couldn't survive without travel. They let go of 25% of their workforce. 1,900 people lost their jobs. Chesky called it the hardest thing he'd ever done, and then he published the layoff letter publicly because he wanted the world to know these weren't numbers. They were people, the comeback. But they adapted. They stopped chasing international flights. They started targeting the car drive. People couldn't travel far, but they could escape. A mountain cabin, a lake house, a farm stay 2 hours away. Airbnb leaned into long-term stays. Remote work wasn't a pandemic side effect, it was a new market. December 2020, IPO day. They priced at $68 per share. The stock opened at $146. Valuation at close, over $100 billion. 1 year after losing everything they had, the biggest travel IPO in history. Today, 7+ million listings worldwide, 1.5 billion guest arrivals, active in 190+ countries. Airbnb isn't a startup anymore, it's infrastructure. The same way the internet changed how we share information, Airbnb changed how we share space. And it all started with an air mattress, a design conference, and 2 founders who couldn't pay rent. The close. From $240 in revenue to a company worth over $100 billion. But the number isn't the story. The story is this. Every no they got from investors, fuel. Every crisis, the bank account, COVID, the regulations, data. The air mattress wasn't a product. It was a question. What would happen if we trusted each other? Turns out the answer was worth $100 billion,